Welcome to Nostalgia Pilots, a Mobile Fighter G Gundam fan cast that isn't doing anything morally wrong. I'm Hugh.
I'm Jurd.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Spence.
And we're here to discuss Mobile Fighter G Gundam Episode 34, Stand Up Domon, Raging Tag Team Match.
AKA Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon had a baby, and it was this episode of G Gundam.
It's true.
Yeah, okay, before we get to that copyright infringement section, though, I just want to talk about the opening, because, again, okay, we get the announcer, we get the eye patch guy coming out and telling us what's going on. Good, I love it. But we get a brief, and they do it so fast so that you can't even think too hard about it, but we get a brief montage of dudes who are previously defeated Gundams. There's the Viking Gundam and a couple other ones, and they're all shown super victorious and defeating people that never actually happened in the match. Like, they try to go past it so fast you can't see it, but it looks like the Zebra Gundam or whatever that guy's name is. He's got like Domon's suit's head on a pike or whatever in the still, but it goes by so fast that you can't even see it. Anyway. I just want to point out, none of that happened. You can't just infer a alternate history in a montage at the opening of an episode and not leave me wondering what the hell's going on.
Wait a minute. I thought this was all propaganda, from the start, and they're trying to make Hong Kong in this alternate universe is trying to make Domon a weak villain.
No.
Yeah, or maybe it's like their version of the Marvel television cinematic universe. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just like each week they give you the alt version of this Gundam tournament where they had Domon defeated or whatnot. It's like I don't know. Do you think maybe they were just doing it to get more toys in the episode? Like, hey guys, remember these model kits?
I think that they did it because they showed us that I didn't go back to check, but I suspect it was that same dang montage they showed us like 4 episodes ago, and it was exactly the same frames, and they did it to save on the animation budget. Maybe they already had it going over to the announcer guy talking, so they just put it all back in. I don't know. But speaking of people they did dirty this episode, are we
going to talk about Domon and Alan B messing around in Rain's cockpit?
That is the perfect phrasing for that, but phrasing!
There were some really nice moments between Allenby and Domon in this. So, yes, Rain discovers them. They're hanging out. Oh, actually, no, hold on. We do get some brief shots of our nominal villains for this episode, but I feel like those guys, they barely leave the camera on them throughout the episode because they do not want to demonstrate how ridiculous both of them. Anyway, so, yes.
The Gundams, the bad guy Gundams this week definitely have, like, Mega Man 4 or 5 robot.
One of them is literally called the Skull Gundam. And that's like its only thing is that it's a skull. The Malaysian one is a little better because it's like it's one of the gods of that region, and I can't remember which one. But like that one's cool, but the other one is just like, you could just call it a pirate Gundam, and that would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
And it is the Ashura Gundam.
Yeah.
But especially the Skull Gundam from Neo Malaysia. I don't think, hey, Malaysia, what do they got there? Skulls. Like, they didn't even bother being... Okay, the pilots struck me as really, like, very basic. We get nothing about them. They just gloss over the actual pilots. The Skull Gundam from Neo Malaysia, like, they didn't even bother doing a racist stereotype. They were just like, yeah, skulls.
Right, so we're going to do a skull one, and then they just kind of threw a map at a dart at a map, and they're like,
yeah,
it's from Malaysia.
Malaysia, sure. Exactly. What else have we done? Anyway... So Ray's coming back. I can't remember what she's doing at the moment. Coming back with the groceries or something. And she notices that the Noble Gundam is hanging out beside Domon's Gundam. And so she catches them together. And in this sequence, I will say, it's this tension between Allenby and Domon and Rain and Domon. And who even really does Domon deserve? Like, neither of them. But anyway. But I do like that in some ways Allenby is just as dumb as Domon. Like, there's moments where they're both like, what? And Ray's like,
Rain asserts herself because she's just like, dude, you're from a different country. You can't be putting stuff from your country into Neo Japan's Gundam. And then they're just like, we don't understand why you're so upset. She yells so loud that the force of her anger kicks them both out of the cockpit and into the waters of Hong Kong Bay. And she's like, get out.
Yeah, that was a nice sequence.
Like, this right here, which I didn't realize until I watched the episode again, was the initial installment of the thing that's going to trigger the first bit of Sailor Moon, or the second bit of Sailor Moonetry in this episode. And I guess that's a word. I just made it one. But no, like, she puts this in here, and later on, Rain literally says, It's that light. Allenby put this in here. And I'm like, are you saying that Allenby, the one who is definitely Sailor Moon, just bestowed her light upon Doma? Oh, come on, man. I was like, this is so, like, Akira Toriyama.
The glow effect they used, yeah.
Yes. Like,
yeah, it's very Rainbow, final move attack.
When we get to it, I have more copyright infringements to talk about.
Why did Ray not take the chip out?
Yeah.
Because Rain is smart, and they did give a logical reason for it, which was that this chip would help reduce the energy consumption of Domon's hyper mode, or whatever they're calling it this week.
It multiplies the efficacy of the power of friendship.
Yeah, that.
Yes,
so before
100%.
we get into the next sequence of actual action, we get a brief little interlude with Rain and like the government officials, and it doesn't really matter to the actual plot of the episode. What matters is we get another shot of that guy with the half mask, the metal half mask, who I have been trained by these shows to think like, this is going to be an important character. Here's your char. Here's your whatever. And he's just nothing. Like, he barely exists in this universe. I feel like there's another show shooting adjacent to this show, and he's a main character in whatever's going on over there.
Not everybody can be Lord Zex, okay?
he's having his own oh god, the show. It was he's having his own show of Mad Men on the other side of this thing. Like, it's this business drama where he's like being this capitalist under Scrooge, like making all this stuff up, and then on this side all we see is him sitting in that chair.
What do you mean you lost the Gundam account? Yeah.
But what happens after because the whole reason they're meeting is because the next matches have not been set up yet, and the chairman of Hong Kong seems really determined to take Domon down and prove the undefeated of the East that his pupil is kind of worthless, which personality-wise is true. Anyway, so they're adjourning their meeting, and they're just like, well, we're not going to know until they announce anything. And as they're leaving, Rain sees out of the corner of her eye a very familiar figure in a trench coat and a German mask, which is not at all flamboyant or identifying whatsoever.
But the German imagery doesn't stop there, because they kind of go so bad with the secret police routine they do.
Mm-hmm. So instead of leaving well enough alone, because Rain, Rain goes and follows to find out what Schwarzbrüder is doing.
Yes, so and Schwarzbrüder is doing ninja shit.
Okay, here's where I come in as the newbie, and maybe Spence wants to comment as well. So I think we've spoiled it directly, but I think at this point we would both suspect that Hans Bruder or whatever is actually the brother.
Yes.
But we are also shown in this sequence that they have the Devil Gundam there, and it's popped open, and Kyoji appears to be inside.
Yeah.
So, here is my theory. Deny or whatever. I'm wondering if the reason that... But then why would he even bother going through the building and showing Rain where he is? Like, I'm wondering if this is a projection. If he is in the body and he doesn't want to be, but he's caught there, maybe. I don't understand how his body can be in the suit and also running around doing ninja shit.
Well, we're not supposed to know that Schwarzbruder is
right, but
the brother.
At some point we're going to have to reconcile these two facts, though, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, remember that, like, every time we see Kyoji, he just kind of, like, suddenly appears standing on the shoulder of the Devil Gundam and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the Devil things the DG cells can do is replicate.
Well, they can self-replicate.
So have they essentially built themselves a fake Kyoji that they are then puppeting in the same way that... Anyway,
Which then begs the question, are the DG cells sentient?
There's only so much we can answer because a lot of this is
this is us the newbies
also,
theorizing.
A lot of this is spoilers, and a lot of the spoilers don't actually make a lot of sense if you try to dissect them, much like a lot of the show. Just go with Schwartz is using ninja magic.
Okay.
The same way he walked through a solid wall and then Chariot kicked the building in half.
That was illusion technology, because there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, but he does get some mad ninja escapes, like some Ninja Scroll style running at that end there, where a wall gets blown. I can't remember exactly. Is it Rain who gets caught, and then they try to?
So Rain is going up to the wall, like poking at it because she watched Schwartz walk through it, and then Schwartz blows it up, and they have the Umbrella Academy moment where they see each other in passing, and then he grabs her to protect her because
the wall's coming down behind him.
Yes, because
he blew it up. Because he blew it up with his ninja stuff.
And we get that sweet slicing the building in half, Fist of the North Star style.
Yeah.
But so if we're gonna keep infringing on Sailor Moon's property, Schwarzbruder would be a much better tuxedo mask than the actual tuxedo mask. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
So, it's a thing, but he carries her through the city to try and escape, and then he does a dick move because he knows he's being followed by government agencies because he just saw a secret government plot. They want to take him down. And so he drops Rain off with Domon and Allenby, who are just sitting by the docks, and basically lets the authorities think that Domon and Allenby were the ones that were in the secret facility.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you, as an older brother, I will tell you that there is definitely a possibility at some point that I broke something in our basement and just let my mom discover it and assume it was my brother who broke it. And I could totally see how Hans Schwartz would come by and be like, "Oh yeah, Domon, deal with this. Goodbye."
No.
Oh, hey, Domon, you're a martial artist. Go fight this army of guys.
Yeah, but let's not be too serious here. These aren't the authorities. The people that pull up around Domon and Allenby are not the authorities. It's actually Master Asia and there's units, because at the end he says all units withdraw and those dudes leave.
No, but they have cop cars with them.
Yeah, and they also had the sniper standing in front, as he was an inspector. It was like he
Chapman.
He tried to summon Inspector Knott.
Such swag Chapman had in this sequence. He looked good. Yeah.
And he was mute.
Of course, they can't at this point. They only paid the voice actor for the one episode.
Exactly. Yeah, they can't afford that. It's craziness.
But Master Asia, they have a little fist fight, and then Master Asia is like, "Oh, you weren't there. All right."
Yeah, a live fist fight. Yeah, that is the best.
It's like, I can't tell if you're telling the truth. Fight me. Oh, okay, you were telling the truth. All right, bye.
Again, guys, Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z had a baby, and it was this episode, because this is Goku talking about, I can understand someone's true feelings if we fight them. That's what happened here. It's shonen. It's the shonen thing ever.
Yeah, that's the scene where Master Asia fights Domon and expects to knock him on his ass, and he doesn't. And Domon's like, "Oh, you got better." And Domon's like, "Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, he
called
says
training."
he
the
says
thing you made me do in that cave.
The line in the sub is actually really poignant, and it's did you expect me not to change?
Yep.
And that's actually a very great line in general, because people will change over time. So, I don't know if the writers were just like, oh, that's deep, put it in, or if it was just an accident. But I really liked that part.
Yeah, I think it works for the martial arts side of Domon, but his social skills, I don't know if he's changing. Like the way he treats Rain, I'm seeing the change there. That's why he should be alone, and Allenby and Rain should be together. Or just join Chivity. Like, everybody should just join Chivity because they're having a ball.
Master Asia goes to the Prime Minister and is like, yeah, he didn't do it. And the Prime Minister's like, well, I'm going to have him killed anyway.
And this is how I'm going to do it and get away with it. I'm going to do a tag team match, and I'm going to use the little Allenby girl because that's his weakness. Doesn't matter that she's already been kicked out of the
giant suit of metal, but anyway.
I mean, it doesn't matter that she was already disqualified from the or not disqualified, but eliminated from the competition. She'll still be his tag team. It's fine.
Well, they rebuilt the Noble Gundam, so it's fine. Yeah. Like, they can stay in the tournament. And there is a little scene with her crew of evil scientists who are like, we didn't have time to repair the murder weapon that kills you, and she's like, it's fine, I'm good. You said you weren't going to do it to me again.
Yeah.
You mean that thing that we agreed we weren't using anymore?
Yeah, it's definitely you guys are still grossly negligent of your pilot.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, the whole operation on that side is in shambles, right? Like, she's running around with their hyper secret technology, dispensing it to their opponents, and they're using mind slave abilities to. Anyway, that whole team is a wreck, and I'm not surprised. Whatever, but. I don't remember her having the magical girl transformation the last time there was any sort of fight encounter.
I do. Yeah, I do, because we were just much? It was not as much the last time, but this time it was definitely, like Jason said, Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon had a baby, and they both have their own transformation sequences. And whenever Allenby's Gundam is doing anything, this is the copyright thing that I wanted to talk about. Whenever Allenby does anything, she's got the little sliding chime,
there's like a harp.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, how much are you gonna steal from that show? Because
yeah,
it's a little on the nose.
Yeah, this is the first time in a while that we've got an extended body condom transformation sequence for both her and Domon, but we do get that.
The difference is she enjoys it, he does not.
Yeah, much less painful, much more, magical. And then they also have a little pose down afterwards where, she does the arm grab with the leg up and anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ribbon dancing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the ribbon dancing pose. But none of this is even really what bothers me about the fight, because it's all just kind of cute and whatever, and it's fine. It's really once they introduce Wile E. Coyote into this match that I become kind of upset.
Fair.
They should have just stamped Acme at the bottom of the corner.
So underneath where they've got the arena, there is a giant magnet with lots of sophisticated looking coils coming off of it.
And this isn't merely a magnet. They refer to it as a super gravitational device, but it is a horseshoe magnet the size of the arena.
And I am sure that the label in Japanese says positive and negative or north or south on the two ends of the magnet. I'm sure that's what it says. This is ordered straight from Acme. Those dudes delivered. Oh my god!
The only thing we're missing is The only thing we're missing is the Roadrunner coming in and going beep beep.
Like, okay, so the Gundam is huge, and then these magnets are huge. Like, no one was like, why is the platform 20 times taller for this one fight than it's ever been for any of the other fights?
Oh, they had an excuse. They had an excuse for that. They said that they were still repairing other arenas, and so this is why they were combining it onto this one arena.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yep. So they're like, yeah, we're going to make people fight two at once in this special arena because everything else is being repaired. And no other suspicious reason.
And the best part of the magnet is that it's hyper specific, so it doesn't. Everyone can get right into its field and beat the crap out of Domon, but no one else has any trouble moving.
Right.
And I thought when Allenby when she goes in to check on Domon and she falls over, I thought she was going to be affected by it too. But no, she was totally fine. Like, she just ran in and out of that thing. It's the most bonkers thing I've seen in an anime in a long time. Just a giant horseshoe magnet that specifically only targets the undefeated of the East, or the King of Hearts, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, you know, the magnet stops Domon in his tracks, but they just use the time to beat up on Allenby, and they don't touch Domon. It's like, are you supposed to be assassinating that guy? Wasn't the whole point of this cartoonishly large magnet?
Well, it's also the power of machismo. They can't let a female fighter beat them. They have to beat her first before going to the other one.
Like, at least they do give the illusion that, like, because she ends up, like, being able to get away or handle one of them at a time, but it's always the other one interrupting that gets the better of her. So at least they show that if it was a one-on-one fight, neither of these guys would be any match for her. But it's still very fridge what they do to Allenby in this episode.
And, like,
especially with how they built her up.
Right. And the Skull Gundam's kind of like a ranged attacker. Like, it's got, like, a whole bunch of, like, guns that shoot, like, lasers and acid and whatever else. So, like, the two of them being, like, very martial arts protos are not a good matchup for it. But it is kind of dumb looking. Like, it is a skull that's wearing other skulls, and it's got skull armor on its skulls.
It's a big barrel body with, like, tiny spindly legs and arms.
Right.
It looks like something you would get out of a gumball vending machine that was, you know, third generation attempt to make a GoBot.
I was thinking of, like, back in the day on the Sega Genesis, those old video games where they use just, like, geometric shapes for heroes. You know, like, the spring dude, like, I was like, oh, these graphics are great. You know, like, but it's just, like, the most base patterns, and that's what he kind of looks like, because they're like skulls on skulls. It's fine. Like, kids love skulls. Right?
I do like that he has, like, open-toed sandals for whatever reason, as opposed to, like, the big, chunky, like, Gundam foot boot things. Like,
well, see,
they built, like, the robot with articulated toes, and they didn't have to do that. In fact, there was no real reason to do that, except for, like, because they don't even look like skeleton feet.
There was no real reason to build any of this suit, if I'm quite honest. This is a terrible design.
I mean, no heavy arms.
I mean, the Mega Man comparison is perfect. Like, I should defeat this guy and then get the ability to put on, I don't know, those weird
skull missiles.
Yeah, because, like, there's really nothing else going on with this dude.
You know, sometimes there's some animation budget left over, and you get to do things like articulated toes.
Well, I think actually, if we're honest about it, the animation budget went into Allenby and the various poses and stuff that they did, and they were like, oh shit, we got to have a couple of villains in this one too, so let's just toss these guys in.
This one is a spinning dervish with lots of parts that can come apart, and we'll just do the spinning animation because that's kind of easy. And then the other one is
not on screen much, and he'll spit acid.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, but I do kind of like the designs for the two pilots, because the Skull Gundam pilot's like a really short guy, and the Neo Singapore's pilot is like a really huge guy, and you definitely get like
the Malaysian guy looks dead. Okay, his skin is gray. He kind of looks like a toad.
Okay, we're getting really close to my favorite thing here, because my favorite thing is directly related to this man. So I don't know if you want me to just spoil it now.
Go for it.
The triple mohawk, baby. I think this is the style of the future. I think we're all going to be wearing triple mohawks at some point. Bound to happen.
But I do think that Gala and Russets do have a definitely have like a Wolverine Colossus thing going on. Like, they are very fastball special.
Yeah, I was getting a whole lot of those original X-Men. Like, I was like, that little one kind of looks like Puck. You know what I'm saying? Like, like they should be in the danger room right now, training.
So Domon does eventually get up, but not until Allenby is knocked down. And he gets up through the power of friendship or something.
And machismo.
And that chip that Allenby put in.
Yeah, so like the chip allows the Noble Gundam to do the thing where it like reaches out its hand and passes energy to the God Gundam. Like, kind of the same way that the Shining Gundam did at the end of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And then Domon explodes the magnet and just, like, takes those two guys out in, like, a single shot.
Yeah.
And Prime Minister Wong, like, breaks his Pocky in frustration.
He actually gets frustrated. He does. Like, he breaks his cool, and he's like, what? That shouldn't happen. You foiled my plan.
That exchange in the sub between Master Asia and the chairman is actually really, really good. Because Because Master Asia goes, Mr. Chairman, and the chairman's like, Mr. East. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he's like, and then he goes and says, never try something cheap like that again. And then Chairman goes on to say something about, I can't allow someone to stand in our way or whatever. But I just really like that.
I can't allow somebody to see our government projects.
Yeah, I do like that despite the fact that they're working together and they're both just sort of evil core, they have their motivation. Master of the East, he does, like, he doesn't have a line, but he does have a line. You know what I mean? He'd rather just do it through actual martial arts. Yeah, he got kind
of outraged with the magnet thing.
Right. So Master Asia's whole thing is that he wants to, like, stay on top forever, but he doesn't want to cheat.
He just wants to win by bringing a self-replicating zombie mech to the... he wants to fight.
He's taking performance-enhancing drugs that are also robots, and he doesn't consider that cheating. But, if you were to, like, beat up his opponent so that he couldn't go into the match, that would be like, no, that's not the same. Like, you should be able to do anything to win, but you have to win on your own, is his deal.
So then... Never mind. I have questions, and they would just prolong the inevitable. So anyway, so they get up, and Allenby and Domon have a similar connection beat to when Domon was fighting the Devil Gundam, and they had to trade the God Gundam, where the two hands interlock, and that may or may not have been a reuse of those animations, but it was still pretty.
Yeah, it was definitely a callback.
But then they had the joint burning Godfinger heat beam or something. Yes. Really, really lame in comparison to the other abilities that
it's a double heat
they've named. It's finger guns.
They're just the Gundam version of Yu Yu Hakusho. It's fine.
So we do close out with a twist, though, and I'm a little unclear how we're going to proceed here, because the chairman, in his fit of frustration, decides, all right, you know what we're doing? We're going to make Domon fight the rest of the Shuffle Alliance. Which, of course, okay, yeah. So I'm wondering how that's going to shake out, because... I mean, they are all friends, but at the same time, they all do want to win the tournament, and anyway.
Right. But we're probably going to see how each of the fighters has grown and changed over time, because that all has been taking place off screen. Because I don't think any of them have been sitting dormant, especially Argo. Ha! I remembered his name this time.
Did y'all see the name of the next episode? Because it's a spoiler to kind of some of what you're saying.
No, I did not.
No.
I'll have to wait till Hugh announces it at the end there.
But yeah, like, that's basically what this is. This is a, hey, these guys have been training montage, come up, they're going to fight Domon, and we're going to get to see new stuff.
Well, yeah, so to that point, since we're coming to the end of the episode here, my question, I guess, is if this was, I don't know, like Wing, this would be when I'd start expecting them to start introducing the 2.0 versions of everyone else's suit. Like, this would be when we'd get Chibity 2.0 and he'd have 4 boxing gloves or, like, whatever.
And 16 abs.
Nothing but abs. Just abs all over.
Oh, my
the
God.
abs Gundam.
Oh, my God. You guys need to watch Yawamusha Peta. It's a bicycle racing anime, and a guy is a sprinter through the power of his abs. And he just says abs. So whenever you're talking to him, he says abs. And in Japanese, he'll say, like, they'll do the onomatopoeia thing. They'll be like, abu. So you guys talking abs is killing me right now. I need to watch it. It's really good.
But also, you know, you've got Saisachi's Gundam, whose name is escaping me, but he's going to have even more flags.
Yes.
With bro.
I hope he comes out like that old dude from Six Flags and just starts dancing.
And Rose Gundam will have more bits.
More bits.
The Rose Gundam is going to have a mask like Tuxedo Mask, but he's going to be also way more effective.
I think that's the lowest bar to ever set. to be more effective than Tuxedo Mask. Whew. I think Luna and
I
Artemis.
think we're at favorite parts. And I'm going to go ahead and say it now before anyone steals it. My favorite part was Michelob Chariot kicking a building in half, and people are all just going like, huh, I guess that building just fell down.
The level of apocalypse in this universe, right? Like, sometimes it seems like the city is just basically normal, and then somebody kicks a building in half and no one blinks. Like, oh yeah, we're after you because you, like, I don't know, touched a wall in a mall or something, Rain. But no, that's the problem, not us kicking a building in half.
Yeah, and he kicked the building in half with his foot. He was not in the robot at the time, which is the part that we need to point out here, is that this was just a rooftop martial arts brawl. This was not anything involving anyone's Gundams. So he kicked the building in half, and he, like, slid down it with his foot, and then the building just kind of, like, fell over from where he kicked it.
Yeah, there was a lot of samurai movie cinematography with the slow-mo of that kick and that slice. Like, it's ridiculous.
Like, it definitely treats that building as a 2D object.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I don't even know. Like, you want... the terrible part is there's a whole conspiracy, like, community online now going, one man's leg kicked a building in half. Wake up, sheeple. That fuel doesn't even get that hot. Anyway, so I'm going to stick, as cool as that is, I'm going to stick with the triple mohawk, which I do believe to be the way of the future, but that is a close second.
You love the triple mohawk.
I think for me, it's a little bit, but it's also during that rooftop chase scene where Schwartz is carrying Rain over his shoulder, and he tells her not to talk because she'll bite her tongue. And I was like, did they just do something reasonable in a script for Gundam? That's unthinkable.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish I could take credit for it.
You're totally right, and then they, like, kick a building in half 2 seconds later. Like, the health and safety people in this universe have some weird level setting to do. Like,
Listen, this is what makes G Gundam so excellent. Like this ridiculousness right here. But my favorite part is literally the Sailor Moon mixed with Dragon Ball Z Kaioken to finish the fight with Domon grabbing Allenby's hand. Like, I'm just like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my god, like, could you, like, Akira Toriyama's on the phone right now. He is mad. He is hot. Because it is so, like, this is the most shonen episode I've watched this entire show. We've had, like, I feel like it's been mostly tokusatsu, like, Power Ranger stuff before this. But now it's, like, super shonen because, like, we're talking through our fists. We're summoning the light.
Well, even the chairman at the end, when he's upset and drops all his Pocky, he's, like, in, like, a weird pose, and they all drop and shatter on the ground. Like, it's all, yeah, very kinetic and not like the normal episodes.
So yeah, I think that's everybody.
Okay, so join us next week when we'll be talking about G Gundam episode 35, Showdown, Bursting Machine Gun Punch.
Oh, there's the spoiler.
Yeah, there may be a new technique.
And it's very American.
I mean, listen, when I said this was the Gundam version of Yu Yu Hakusho, I meant it, because when he upgrades his finger gun, which is literally what it is, he makes a shotgun.
Speaking of Sailor Moon collaborations.
Oh man.
But yes, until then, you can find all of our show notes over at nostalgiapilots.com. Find all of my projects listed on my Linktree at linktr.ee/UJ O'Donnell.
You can find everything I do over at skinner.fm.
You can find me over at nimlas.org, because that's all I do right now.
And while I'm not doing too much online, I am doing a Thursday night TTRPG until the end of February with Voidcat Gaming on Twitch, so you can find me there.
Okay, thanks for watching, and until next time, we have to judge the suspicious ones in the ring.